Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Eyes Wide Shut from 1999. It's directed by Stanley Kubrick and stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Remember back 1,000 years ago when Tom Cruise was married to Nicole Kidman? Yeah, I barely remember it either, but this film exists almost single-handedly to remind us of that period of time, which was 11 years. 11 years isn't bad, and no, I'm not here to question Tom Cruise's sexuality, mostly because that is low-hanging fruit, and although I'm usually a fan of low-hanging fruit, every once in a while I want to give the idea that I'm better than that. Eyes Wide Shut tells the story of a married man that gets hooked into a sex cult and tries to find answers when all he has is questions. It's funny because this all stems from a stoned conversation he has with his wife about her admitting to being hypothetically unfaithful, and instead of him having a difficult conversation with her, he runs off and tries to join a sex cult in revenge. He keeps having these fantasies of his wife with the man she wanted to have an affair with, and never does he tell himself, this is only a hypothetical, it never really happened. Although I own this film because it's a Stanley Kubrick film, but more than that, I like it a lot. I dig the weird vibe of the sex cult and the mystery surrounding them. This was Stanley Kubrick's last film as he died just 4 days after presenting his cut of the film to Papa Warner Brothers, where their motto is, "We hate movies, but we love money." This film does come under controversy when you find out that some of the more extreme sex acts of the cult's wild bacchanalia were covered up by digitally putting in other cult members in front of his more explicit sex acts, and while this was done to get an R rating instead of an NC-17, people think that Kubrick would have been pissed about it, and apparently he had floated the idea himself before his death of a heart attack. This film has that infamous scene where Nicole Kidman's Alice is acting very strangely when she's on pot, and her performance is sometimes laughed at because it seems a bit much, and while I'm not a frequent user of marijuana, I can tell you that the last time I used it 4 years ago, my speech was slow and deliberate as hers is, so maybe Nicole Kidman wasn't totally off the mark in that scene. Eyes Wide Shut is an engaging mystery, and so I'm going to give it a B+ and officially put the E section in our rear view as we get ready to start the Fs with F9 The Fast Saga, which should be interesting because I've only seen the first 2 films of the franchise, but alphabetical rules are alphabetical rules. See y'all then.